Welcome everyone. Today we have the final version of Pit 150 full clear from the Chinese content creator. Now over here you can see this is a Pit 150 clear replay, and because he did turn off the damage numbers, we can't see how many trillions of damage he's doing. But you can get the gist of it of this particular replay, which took under 15 minutes of course to clear this pit. Now during this replay, you can see that he was able to get the resource shrine, and once he faced the boss will be killed before 15 minutes. Now there are a lot of tricks, new changes to the gears and also mechanics for this build. But if you have followed that previous build, you can see that this is one of the world's first clear, and we'll be learning on this particular Soulborn, how he cleared this and all the tricks and also new update for this full 150 clear. So if you haven't seen this particular version of the guide, we do have a previous guide that is tailored towards Pit 137 and also plus. The gears will be a little different, but the Chinese content creator actually said if you're not pushing over Pit 139, you should use the previous version of the build. Now of course this new version, there's some new tricks I'll go through with you guys in this video. So coming over to an English translator builder's guide. You can see there's a 137 setup, there's a 150 clear setup over here. So what has changed from the previous setup and also this setup is that the previous setup he was using multiple unique items like the helmet and also the boots over here. But because the latest meta really revolved around stacking maximum resolve stack, he has gotten additional helmet that is not unique but rather craftable legendary helmet that provides him with another max roll of 12 or 13 maximum resolve once you triple crit on the helmet, and this dramatically increases damage, and also additional barrier generation. He has also went for the duelist boots, providing him with more life, dexterity, and also more barrier generation as he crafts on those boots. And because he can be craft ferocity and also additional damage to slow enemies, this particular version is tailored towards the stronger monsters in Pit 140 plus. And this is the biggest change compared to the previous build. Now there are some additional changes you might have not noticed. So in the previous build, he was running maximum life, attack speed, and also crowd volley. Now he's running dexterity, crowd volley, and also maximum life. Because he was getting more attack speed coming from the boots ferocity stacks, this is what helped him to remove the attack speed on the gloves. Similarly, you can see here, there's one more change with the usage of the rings. He's going with attack speed, maximum life, and also resource cost reduction. And this allows him to hit a particular breakpoint with resource cost reduction to have more resource to deal even higher damage. Now other than this, I do recommend coming back to this video which will explain a lot about the build, and if you haven't seen the build, this is actually a very strong build that uses the resolve stack that provide him with additional block converted into additional critical damage, and this also converts into additional stackable infinite stacking damage coming from the legendary knot. Together with stacking the barrier gain and also additional maximum life, additional barriers is converted into over 1000% additional damage for this particular build. Now if you have been following the previous build, I do want to point out, in the previous build, the Chinese content creator was using basic attack, which actually is a smaller scaling factor compared to overpower. So you can see he has crafted overpower damage on the gloves and also on the rings for his latest build. And those are the major changes of the gears. Now, if you haven't seen the gear stats, make sure you have a look at the gear stats and you look at which is the most important stat. So it is going to be the maximum resolve, maximum resolve, maximum resolve. Try to hit double or triple crits on those. And then the skill ranks will be quite important, together with additional attack speed, additional life, and also maximum resource for those gears. Now, he hasn't changed his choice of the ruins, and also you can be adjusting towards your gems. You should have as much barrier generation on your chest pieces, together with adjusting your resistance on the rings and also on the amulets. Should you not have enough resistance, you should change this to the diamond that provides more resistance. Now in terms of the skills, it is very straightforward. There hasn't been many major changes. One of the things I noticed that it was quite popular for other content creators to pick the dormant perk, but this particular 150 clear did not pick this particular perk, and I found that was quite interesting. And you can see he had additional points in other places that allows him to do a little more damage over here. Now going through the latest updated Paragon, he still had 56 point not allocated, so you don't have to be max level for this build. So briefly going through the choice of the glyphs. So he's going with level 100 Spirit, and here we have level 100 Revenge, which now supposedly to be working, that provides him with additional damage bonus coming from the Thorns reflective damage and also the bonus damage. And here we have, let me highlight this, here we have Talent, which is very straightforward. Most of us do use Talent. And over here we have Headhunter. The idea is that the multiplier for bonus damage against elites really helps for the build to do more damage, and also additional points as allocated as normal points will be doubled in effectiveness. And this is how he can get a particular threshold for his stats, which I'll share with you guys very soon. Finally, he has Colossal that stacks infinite damage with Resolve. He has over 45 stacks of Resolve because of his helmet, the chest, and also the pants. Now, what I want to do is, I do have some new notes and also notes I want to go through that is translated from the latest version updated from his build. So let's go over here and you can see those are his additional notes for 150. Now, before we dive in, he did mention that this particular setup, the new setup, is for players who want to push over 139. There is a special bug before this, or during this time. So if you guys did not know, bosses that spawns after 141 will have a massive HP reduction. So here, let me show you guys. The moment you enter the boss room, you're going to notice that the boss is already having no HP. So here, notice for 150 clear, he entered the boss room around with 30 seconds left. And how does he kill the boss? It's because currently for pit over 141, the boss spawns at 10% HP. And this means the boss is already injured. It takes more damage for injured and he only has 10% HP. So if you can get to the boss room within 30 or 1 minute to spare, you can kill the boss very quickly after 141. And this is a small bug a lot of players knows as they push for higher. And most difficulty the players have is against the little monsters and also elites before the boss. So notice that he was able to take down the boss within about 10-20 seconds because he only had 10% HP. So this is something you want to be aware because it actually gets easier after pit 139. And the focus is to kill the little monsters and also elites after this, before this part gets patched, and this is how players can potentially push for over 150. Now over here, the additional note is actually about having intelligence breakpoint for this new build. Now he did mention that if you only have 426 intelligence, you want to get as much resource generation nodes as you can, and all the blue nodes that provide you with intelligence and also resource. But if you can get around 530 intelligence, you can unlock all the bonuses you want from the nodes that are yellow, which is very important. And the perfect balance of intelligence is around 560 for this particular build if you follow his Paragon and also the stats of the gears. And those are the new addition to the intelligence breakpoint. Now, if you guys haven't heard about the previous combination of, the mechanics and also hidden damage factors, make sure you watch the previous video, which I explained everything explained in Chinese. That is about barrier stacking, about resolve stacking, and also how to get tons of block rate and also massive damage using those combinations. So make sure you come back to this previous video. Now, briefly going through the skill rotations and also ways to deal the highest damage. What you do want to notice is not only you want to be spamming crowd volley, you want to be spamming your ultimate as much as you can on multiple group of monsters. The highest damage factor for this build is actually when you spam your ultimate and you get supremacy stacks. So let me try to pause and show you. Notice that there's a little skull or triple skull over here with 30 stacks here. This is when you know you are doing the highest damage. It is the supremacy stacks. And during this time, you want to activate Armor Hide as much as you can. This is because Armor Hide will allow you to have higher block chance, which translates into higher critical damage. And those are the major factors as you fight monsters. And of course, you can go with Triple Ensign and also additional maximum HP potion. And this is what he was able to do the highest dungeons using those setup. Now, before we finish, big credits to Akina Chuye over here, and also the Chinese player that cleared this, I believe is Miao Miao Ling Wu, and they have taken inspiration from a number of Chinese content creators that made this possible. And big thank you for them for sharing this one, and I'll keep you guys updated for the other version of the endgame build for Diablo Season 6 related to Spiritborn and also other classes very soon.